Hi, people. It's another episode with me, Franklina, and Derek. And before anything else, we would love to continue to say a big thank you to every single one of you for supporting us. This is our fourth episode, and it's amazing that we've come this far and you are with us on this journey. So, thank you very, 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 very much. We would also love for you to leave a review for our podcast. You can leave a review just down there in the show notes. Don't be shy. Tell us anything. Say your mind about the episode and then take our poll, right? That's the way we know what we are doing is making an impact. It will give us a good idea of what to work on and how to go about it so we can leave this episode or this our show in general engaging at any point in time and with every other episode. So yeah, leave a review for us. Don't forget. Don't forget. So Derek, how was your week?
What's up? Yeah, the week has been good. Um, both at work and online. People have been cooking on the timeline, so
Yeah, I
think
see. I see.
yeah, we
I
like
have been seeing.
violence a little bit. So we like violence a little bit. But yeah, work has been going on cool. I've been killing it a lot, and I think I'm happy
I
with
can
how
see
it
that.
has been
Yeah.
going. Yeah,
Okay.
both design and then my other hobbies. Yeah, how's yours?
Like the
I saw you were designing something for Cleve.
Yeah, my week has been good. Just like yours, it's been work and my other hobby. Yeah, so we are still in the very last days of getting our MVP out there. And one of the very nice thing I think we did was figuring out the main product first. Like we didn't do sign in, login, profile before we even touched the main product. When we started designing now, we went straight into the product. So now everything else is what we are trying to tackle now. Something like when somebody installs a um extension, how do we guide them
Mm,
into the app? How do we sell or show them the value? That's something we are now figuring out. We are not figuring it out before we did the main product. People, everybody has a way of tackling product, but that's how we decided to tackle ours.
is there
So
is there a reason for that?
we wanted to get the main value of the app right and done because we didn't want to spend time doing the outside. I don't know, like focusing on things
Yeah,
that are
yeah,
not core to the main thing is that you should be able to save a link, come back to it. So the ability to save your link from whatever web page we looked at. That was the first thing we looked at. Then we went on to search, organizing. So creating collections, perfecting that flow, and then searching before we even came to the extension and doing all that. So we just wanted to make sure we are grounded on the main value the app is supposed to bring before focusing on the other things. I'm not saying the other things are not important, but we didn't want to lose focus and spend so much time on things
yeah.
that, yeah, if we haven't done the main thing, why are we doing the supplementary or complementary stuff? So, as part of my daily wanderings on the TL, on X, on Twitter, I found this very interesting article by this guy. I don't know his name. I just was so interested in the article. And basically, he's saying toasts are bad UX. And Derek and I are going to share if we agree or not. So if you don't know what toasts are, of course you can Google it, but toasts are basically responses to an action you take. It's as simple as that on an interface. You click on a copy link and then there's a toast or something will tell you that whatever you've copied has actually copied, just giving you feedback on the action you've taken. And this guy in his article is saying it's bad UX. And whether as to if I agree or not, by the time you listen to Derek and I's rant about it, you know where we stand. So Derek, what do you think about this guy's argument of toasts being or having bad UX?
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a preference issue, right? It's a preference issue, and the way design to is you can't stand somewhere and say this is outrightly bad, right? You can do that for some things, but it's someone can argue the opposite of whatever you are looking or you are talking about
Oh yeah.
any day at all, right? Even dark patterns, people, I can confidently argue for dark patterns, right? But then because of ethics and the rest, we choose to go against or we choose to not do it, right? So with this one, I feel it leans a lot towards a preference problem. It could also be an accessibility issue. So you let me explain. So
Okay.
preference such that I get what the guy is saying that at the point where the action occurs, he wants the toast or whatever feedback is giving back to him should the feedback should show at that particular point of action. So if I click
Yeah.
in the middle of the screen, the feedback should happen somewhere around the middle so that
Yeah.
nothing happens in my peripheral, given the
Yeah.
way toast work. So toast would show at maybe the bottom left, the top middle, top right, any of the corners or any of the um, top right, bottom, and left, right. So it's normally close to the edge of the screen. It's normally close to one of the edges of the screen. So the
Yeah.
guy is saying that he doesn't see the reason why something that will give you feedback for an action should be at the edge. So if I do something on one of the edges, the feedback will be on the other edge. I get him because it can be distracting. It can be distracting. I mean,
I want
it can be
let me
distracting,
put it
but then,
to you. Let me put it to
ish,
you.
lawyer, okay.
You. Yes, I'm putting it to you. What do you think is what is your preference? Do you think toasts are bad UX, as in
I was
the
trying to
way
be
we
diplomatic.
don't be
I was trying to be diplomatic.
don't be.
I don't see anything wrong with toast, to be honest.
So
For the normal use, I don't see anything wrong with them. What might be a problem with toast is if people are using screen readers,
okay.
right? So that might be an issue. So that's looking at it from an accessibility point of view,
Yeah.
where somebody's using a screen reader. So will the screen reader be able to read the toast? Because the toast normally stays for a couple of seconds,
Yeah.
maybe 1 second, 2 seconds, or maybe even half a second or a fraction of a second, right? And I don't think a screen reader would be able to pick that up, given how a screen reader works. So now that would be one of the main. If I have to argue against toast, that will be one of the main things I would use as an argument. But then, given that's the only thing coming to my mind right now, like 100% against those. I don't think I have a problem with it, right? Because yeah, but then for a totally accessibility point of view, yeah. What do you also think?
I actually agree with him. I think toasts are bad UX because
Hey.
if if yeah,
Okay.
if you are an ardent user of YouTube and you are trying to add something to your playlist, right? In his article, he describes how it's done. So I'll try at my possible best to describe it since there's no video or anything here. So you are adding an article, I think at the in the video frame, right? Bottom right, you click to add the article, then the modal to add where you want to add it shows up in the middle. So now you're moving your view from down there to the middle of the screen.
Mhm.
Now you add. The first time I encountered that when I added, I was looking for something to tell me that I've added
Feedback.
before I realized it was down. I'm the bottom left. So I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
first I add on the right, I move to the center. Now I have to look for the feedback that I've actually done the ad, right? So in that sense, I agree with him because then you need to let the user know. I think it's one of the heuristics. Like you need to let them know the response to the action they've taken. And they do that all right, but the approach to the way they do it is the problem. You can use that same model, right? Where you select the
Yeah.
playlist you want to add it. You can put the toast or text, something, some form of feedback right in there that they've added it. It need not be far. And it's in most products. With you add here and the toast show up, you add at the bottom, toast show
Mm.
up top right. You add. in the middle,
Yeah.
toast show up bottom right. Like it's like the toasts are everywhere. And I think it's like that across so many apps because we've come to accept that as industry standard. Right. When I go and I see this product doing it, I'm like, okay, this product is doing it. Let me just do it in my product. Like we don't
Yeah.
critically assess if it works if it actually works, the essence of the toast is actually working. We just take it because we've seen it being used there. We've seen it here as well. We've seen it here as well. So it might be good,
But
right?
what's the
So
metric for that though? What's the metric for it
hmm,
working? Because I would argue
there's
as adoption.
yeah, as well, if nobody complains that the action I took it didn't work,
Mm,
you could count that. Yeah, because with the same YouTube example, if I'm adding to a playlist and it didn't work or I didn't see
yeah.
the toast, I'll come and complain or I'll send the ticket or create a ticket for that issue. But it seems
Mhm, mhm.
nobody is complaining. So then maybe at the back of their minds, it's working fine, right? Or the thing is, at least people see it as the fact that they've told me down there. So it's
Okay.
fine.
Uh-huh.
Nobody's really paying attention to where they told me or which part of the screen they told me. I'm pretty sure this guy, he's a developer, I should believe. So he's he's um he's familiar with UX and all that. But with a layperson, he did it in the middle. Feedback is at the bottom left. He's fine. At least he was told that the action he took has been registered by the system. He doesn't care if it showed outside of the monitor or outside of his phone screen or whatever. As long as he took an action and he's told it's worked, it's worked. I don't know. I'm not sure he knows what UX is, right? Like he took an action. You're telling him that
Mm,
the action was registered. Final, like that's it. So I think it falls down to us to redefine how toast should work. And one of the ways he said that is
yeah.
using no toasts at all, because you can take an action and then I think I don't know, I've seen it somewhere, I don't know where, but there are certain applications where you just do the selection and it's done. There's no
Mm,
button to click to say submit, or like when you select, it's done, right? It's done. And
yeah.
then the fact that he says wherever you take the action, you should show the tools there. A typical example is how when you copy something, just there, no, the text changes to copy. For some products, they change
Copied.
that
Yeah.
same copy to copy or something like that. But some products also would take another route and show you top left, bottom center, those things. So I think it forces us
But
on
but
designers to try to refine it.
when you, I get what you're saying though, right? But then if a user comes to your product for the first time and then
Mhm,
you with your YouTube issue, for instance, and then
mhm,
you didn't see the toast, but then you saw it later on, did you
mhm.
have that problem again?
No, because I got used to it. You see, that's the thing. I got used to it. I
Yeah.
got used
So
to the
shouldn't
fact I
we
was
give
seeing it there.
users shouldn't we give users a chance to also learn new behaviors?
The thing is, it's not about. I think it's the placement of the toast,
Mm,
right? And nobody has done anything different, so there's nothing to compare to say this is bad or this is equally great, or
yeah.
everybody has just picked up on it that when you do a toast, it comes down, it comes into the screen from the top, from the bottom side, wherever, right? So even if they get used to it, cry, they don't. I'm used to it because I've not seen anything different that I can say, this is what they should do it
Yeah.
like
Yeah. Yeah.
these people that have experienced. So I'm used to it only because I haven't seen anything different. That yeah, I haven't seen anything different, so I don't have a problem. But then I know for YouTube this is how they do it, and I've seen it in other apps, so
Mm,
it's probably fine or it's probably the right thing.
yeah. My other argument for this would be it's an easy attention grabber because, for instance, you are looking into the middle of the screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's assume you are looking into the middle of the screen, and in your peripheral, something new pops up. It catches your attention.
Hmm.
Like,
It
doesn't matter
does,
whether
but
it's in your view or not, it still catches your attention.
it does, about for what purpose? You could easily do it somewhere in my focus. Like, what's the purpose of
Well,
making me turn to the bottom left to see that you're only telling me the action I took? Maybe if I was copying. copied successfully. It's not like there's something else going on there. Let's take the example of a website where the hero section takes the full viewpoint
Hmm.
or covers the full viewpoint.
Yeah.
You know, for such websites, they'll have an arrow or a scroll, something that tells you to scroll. You know, over there in that instance, there's something happening, something of great importance that's
Yeah.
of value down there. That if you scroll, you get more information about the product. But in this example where you've copied something and then the copy toast is at the bottom left, yeah,
Mm.
like you've told me that I've copied my text is successful. What next? Do you get where I'm coming from? So I'm saying like that's my counter to your argument.
Well, it's at the end of the day, it boils down to like we started with the preference, right? Because
Yeah.
if it comes with purely accessibility, right, I would go with no toast because I really don't know how screen readers are going to pick up toast the way they
Yeah.
work, right? But then every other
Right.
thing, yeah. But then the author proposed a no toast solution. Like,
Yeah, you did. You did.
what's that about? Can you?
Yeah, so I think I just brushed over that a little somewhere earlier on. Basically, when you take an action, you just take it. I really wish I could remember the products I used where I encountered such an experience.
Mm,
So, assuming you are selecting, you're supposed to make a choice of,
yeah.
I don't know, an option, you're supposed to make a choice. When you select, it just like continues. There's no toast. The system registers it. If you unselect, the system registers it. There's no toast. So it doesn't even bring about the action the question of accessibility or
Okay.
focus or peripheral. The user is taking the action, he's continuing. That's all.
How about
I
feedback?
want to ask something. Okay, that's a good question. Yes, so okay, that solution of his or that suggestion of his, we could counter argue to say what then happens to feedback.
Yeah,
Look,
because
I'm not a fan of no toast. Me, I'm not. I agree with him that toast are bad UX. I don't
yeah,
agree with him that we shouldn't show toast at
literally
all.
okay,
Because
okay,
me, if I do something on an app, I'm looking for feedback. Did it work? Right? Did
yes,
what I like? I'll just keep tapping because the YouTube thing. Before I noticed that the toast was at the bottom left, I switched the playlist like 3 times. Before I saw it at the bottom, I'm like, oh, okay, so I just have to select, and it will even take a while before that toast shows. So it's all part of UX, like the whole experience. When I clicked on watch later, it took
mm,
a few seconds before I saw the toast. Then I clicked again on another one. It took another few seconds before it shows. So feedback is very important. It gives people the go ahead to continue on with a particular action, right? Or to trust in your system that what
yeah,
I did it actually worked, so I can continue on what I was doing before I came here, right?
especially for our situation where we have terrible internet a lot.
You know,
If you click on something and the toast delays,
you will keep clicking and tapping and clicking till,
so we
and
need that.
if the app is crazy, all the clicks will now show all the toasts. So
Yes,
if you
yeah, they'll
10 times,
stack on top of
all
each
the
other. The two stack on top of each other like some
yeah,
brick wall.
yeah. So I'm just hoping people would share their thoughts on toasts, right?
Yeah,
Like if you use
not the
toast.
bread, not bread toast, but
Oh,
UX toast.
there. Yeah, so please share your thoughts on toast. We will link the article in our show notes. You can read and you can always come back to share your comments about this toast thing, right? Do you agree with the writer? Do you agree with me? Do you agree with Derek? What do you think? We would really love to hear your thoughts on this.
So, Franklin, when you were starting design, did you redesign any popular apps
I
to
don't think
learn?
I don't
You don't think
remember.
so?
I don't think so. I don't know why I didn't, because no, I don't know. I don't have a reason why I didn't. I just know I haven't done it before. I'll
So
check my
how
link,
did you
just YouTube videos and sharing what I do with this one guy who was helping me. I didn't do any redesign. I don't know why. I don't like it's not like I have a reason why I didn't. I just never did. I didn't
Like you're
redesign.
too good. You didn't need to do
Not
it.
that no, please. No. I never did. I never redesigned anybody's site. I might have forgotten. So if anybody goes to see that I've redesigned, please let me know and let me retract my statements. But for now, today, Sep- September 5th, I don't remember.
Yeah, there's been some movements in and around the interwebs, right, about some redesigns going on, right? I heard
I've
the Hamilton app
seen.
was redesigned. Did you hear about it, or is it a sensitive topic?
I saw it. I did. I saw it. I saw it. Let's just leave it as I saw
You
it.
saw it, but what do you think?
It's
What do you think about the redesign culture? Because I have a lot of thought about people redesigning for learning,
yeah.
right? And some of them include you need to get used to some po- commonly used components.
Yes.
So by designing other people's work, not necessarily designing them in a different way, but then just
Mhm.
copying, straight up
Yeah.
copying would let you know or give you experience in designing some components, right? Because when
Right.
you are starting out, you really don't have that knowledge of design components, some of the
Mhm.
patterns, some of the UI patterns. You don't have that knowledge. But then copying other people's work dito gives you that experience in the use of some UI patterns, right? Then we have the designing for, in quotes, making better, where I've seen it a lot with a lot of fintech apps, right?
Yeah.
Ghanaians have food delivery
How
app.
about
Here, Nigerians have GT Bank also.
yeah.
Like every every jurisdiction have they have they has what every jurisdiction has the thing that they like to redesign,
Yeah.
right? And that also gives you some learning experience where you can research on things that you think can be better and the rest, right? My
Mm.
problem with this is that there are a lot of times where people redesign just for the looks of it without considering a whole lot of things that come to form a design,
And
right?
then
They
I
redesign it with an
yeah.
agency outlook rather than an in-house designer outlook. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that sentence might be a bit, but yeah. My main issue with redesigns is understand what the business decision is. Right. That's my
Right.
main issue. Understand what the business decision is because you can. Okay, for instance, there was this redesign I saw of a website called Moonpay. Moonpay, like sun and
Moon
moon.
fit.
Moonpay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a widget.
Okay.
Right. The widget, so it was a crypto trading widget. And what they did was they hosted the widget on the landing page.
Okay.
So when you go on the landing page, you can interact with the widget on the landing
Good.
page. So the landing page was in the hero section.
Yeah.
Right. So I found I was doing some research for my widget I was designing for my team, and I channeled upon their website. So I was learning. I found it really cool. But then later on, a couple of months later, I saw someone do a redesign of Pay, and they took out the widget. And I was like,
Why?
now you've reduced the usage of this product because users are not able to interact with it in the homepage again.
You're
Right.
able
So
to
that's
experience the value Moon Pay is trying to
exactly. And they took it out. They took it out and they brought something stylish. And I was like, yeah, but this is not the widget. Right. So
right.
yeah, what are your thoughts on it? I had somebody broke your heart. One day we'll bring
Right.
Roxanne to here. Yeah. But yeah,
Yes.
what what's your thoughts on it?
So for me, redesigns are one of the best ways you could learn as a designer, right? It's one of the best ways. I don't remember doing redesigns, but looking at what is currently out there, looking at how I see people learn, redesigns are one of the best ways you could learn as a designer. But then the problem with redesigns, like you said, if you are redesigning just to make the existing one nice. So a few is it somewhere, I think last year, I I know, or I'm very, how do I say this? I've come to accept the fact that I'm not very good at website design. Like I don't even try. No, I don't even try to pamper the situation or try to. I suck at website design. So one thing I was doing was I'll pick a site and design it the same thing. I'll try to get the padding right, the spacing, the font size, the colors, and the whole goal for that for me was to one know the components like you mentioned, like how did they design it in my head? How do I think they designed this button with this shadow, with this edge, with this? I was just doing word for it. So like component for component, pixel for pixel, just trying to understand how they got their maybe hero section to look the way it looked. That
Mm,
was my goal for the design. I wasn't trying to redesign it for something else to make it look different, to make it. It wasn't even at the back of my mind. My goal was to learn, why did they
yeah.
do this? Why did they, maybe if I really want to be petty, why do I think the messaging is like this? Why did they choose this visual to accompany this message? Like all of these things. That was the goal for my redesigning that project. And but what I see now, like you said, is a lot of people redesigning stuff with basically zero idea of why the original workers of that project
Yeah.
did what they. And it's not bad if you are even redesigning to make something better. The problem I have with that bit is if you are redesigning something, right, you should have some assumptions.
Yeah.
So with your
Yeah.
example about MoonPay, it's very obvious that the widget is to drive conversion. If
Mm,
somebody experiences the widget upfront without creating an account, the chances of them creating an account and using their services is very high. Now, if you've redesigned and you've taken out the widget, you've taken the company's ability to capture new users just like that.
yeah.
You you are it's not going to help them in any way. So if you put a graphic illustration there, how would that convince somebody to sign up as opposed to actually feeling or experiencing the product?
Actual product.
Exactly. So we need to redesign products, trying to figure out in the first place why they put what they put there. Why was the widgets there? Why did they decide to go that route? And
Yeah.
if I'm going to take it out, what am I putting there? Why am I even putting what I've decided to put there over there?
Mm,
So if I put a visual there in my right tab, wherever I'm going to post it, I should be able to say, I removed this widget because I thought, or I'm assuming this and this and that and that and that. That way, when somebody is reading it, then
yeah.
they're able to follow your thoughts that this person is going beyond design and is actually thinking of the user and the business, right? So for a lot of things I'm seeing when it comes to redesign, a lot of us don't do that. Like a lot of us don't do that. If you
We go
don't do that,
straight to
you
UI.
yes, like if you are redesigning Cowbank and they've decided to put all their services on the homepage, ask yourself why are they putting all their services on the homepage? They are not hiding some behind a button to see more, right? Ask yourself why. Maybe for them, the reason they put it there is because initially they tried it. They probably tried that approach of hiding
Ah,
something there. And then customer tickets increased because people are
preach,
saying,
preach,
I
preach.
can't find the button to create an account, or I can't find the button to something remittance. So they decided, okay, then if to solve that problem, let's just put all the services there.
So that
And
they
if
don't
you
have
are
to
going to
search.
redesign and hide it behind the button, you have you can make an argument that there's this law that when people have so many options before them, they are crippled to make a decision. So
Yeah.
for you, you are taking out some of the options, hiding them behind the button because of this law. And the ones you are even highlighting are you are assuming those are the actions that users usually take on the Cowbank app, right? These are some of the things you should ask yourself and you should do when you are redesigning a product, right? You don't just like get up and design it just because you are good at design. You can combine colors, put text here, and then that's it. No, no, no. Another thing I'd encourage us to do when it comes to redesign is if you know the people who are working on that thing you are redesigning, it doesn't hurt to reach out to them. So that when you are broadcasting your work, you are able to say you've spoken to people who have some relation to that
You've done
project.
your
And
research.
exactly, you've done some sort of research to back all the decisions that you've put there. It might not be right, but then the very fact that you've gone that extra mile of talking to people who are actually working on the product, it gives whoever who is reading that sense that, oh, this person is, again, not just screens or not just color. They actually know what goes into putting out a design, and research is part of them. You might not explicitly say you did research, but implicitly, when I read it or when anyone reads it, they know that you did some work to gather some sort of information to do what you're doing.
Yeah.
So yeah, redesign is you should
I, I, Oja, fire.
oh, you should be very particular about redesign. Know why you're redesigning something, right?
Yeah.
That's end it here before I go on.
But yeah, I mean, for people who are listening who want to do like who want to learn with redesigns, right? Just treat it as though you are part of the team, right? Don't
Right.
just do redesigns because you want to do or you feel you are not happy with something, right? Put yourself in the shoes of whoever is designing this. Put yourself in
Mhm.
the shoes of the user. Don't
In the
just
business.
exactly, yeah, and the business, right? And I've written an article before about the designer stakeholder labs. That is that's a designer who takes into consideration what the business also thinks, not just a designer who is all about the interface and then the user,
Mhm.
but then the stakeholders also want to be heard, and the
Mhm.
stakeholders want their inputs to be effected. So before you embark on, just put yourself into the shoes of the business, the designer, the user, because that's what you'll be doing anyway
Yeah.
when you get into the job. That's what you'll be doing anyway. So why not start with that when you are getting into design? Why not start doing that? Why not make that your workflow when you are doing redesign? So find out that okay, um, why is this done in
Mhm.
this industry? For instance, Amazon. Amazon from a UI perspective is a very crowded app.
I know.
Right. But then I read case studies on, and it made sense to me, even though I still have a little bit of reservations. Right. What I heard or what I read was they wanted to get as many things into the user's face as possible so that
And it's
when you are
valid.
buying, yeah, it's valid.
It's
Right.
valid. Yeah.
I have my reservations, but then I understand why.
Yeah.
Right. So put yourself into their shoes and try to analyze, because when you get into the design job, you are not just going to be doing UI based on vibes. You're going to be doing UI based on business objectives, business
Mhm.
direction, and all that. And like Franklina said, make your assumptions clear. If you are starting with a project, I did a project on the elevator thing. I
Yeah.
made my assumptions in the beginning that okay, I'm assuming
Exactly.
there are 8 elevators. I'm assuming it's this. I'm assuming it's this. That way, if somebody is going through the work or if you present it in a case study or a portfolio review, whoever is reviewing it has that context
Context.
to run
Yeah.
with, right? So if maybe you are doing something that is a little bit out of the norm, you can make your assumptions clear so that when people look at it, they don't generalize, right? They also know from your point of view. Maybe you are trying to redesign for a simpler experience, or you're trying
Mhm.
to redesign for people who are experts or who are power
Mhm.
users, or you're redesigning for children, right? That could be that's even yeah, that's even a nice case study idea. Take a popular app and design it for kids. That's
That's
also a
true. Like
nice
Shopify for
for kids.
Yeah, maybe a kid wants to start their business. How would you make it
Yeah.
10-year-old to take the
Yes.
app and build their business and manage it
Social
from there?
media for kids.
Yeah.
That's actually a nice. Yeah. If it's a project you pick up for your case study, let me know. I can. Yeah, we'll jump on a call and I can rant a little bit.
I think it would be really helpful to um add the links of your articles, the one about the elevator thing with your assumptions and the one about the stakeholders, so that it gives people a good idea of what we are talking about.
Yeah. Maybe one day we'll talk about this. Why designers don't like considering stakeholders.
Maybe.
Stakeholders are too lonely. Designers need to show some love.
I know. Please give your design some love, right? Design with love, beg you.
All right. On still on the topic on designing for the public to see. Right. We've been hearing
Yeah.
some things on building in public.
Yeah. Yeah.
This one is shit.
Hot, hot.
Shit. Would you like to break the news or
Hey. Well, no, you do, because I'm not like in the know like that. I saw
yeah.
it, but I'm not good.
All right, cool. So you know how the tech space is one that a lot of ideas are flying out left and right.
Yeah.
Right. And there will be times where somebody might action an idea that you had or might execute an idea you are already executing.
Hmm.
Right. We've seen it in a lot of products. We have
Typical
um
example, music, sorry,
yeah,
Spotify and Apple
Spotify,
Music.
Apple,
And they are existing very well, making their
exactly.
money.
Ami, Ami, and I think Cron,
Yeah.
Calendly, and Carl.com. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of apps that are essentially the same idea. With the way the industry is, execution is everything.
Yeah.
The way the industry execution is everything. So I'm not going to do specifics, right? Otherwise, they'll come and drag us too.
I just want issues,
But
that's all.
yeah, there are two I think engineers. I know one is an engineer. I don't know whether the other is actually an engineer, but there are two people who built the same idea, and one of them had their work in public for months. The other one we saw recently, right? And this has brought about the question: should designers or should tech people in general still build in public, given some things like this happen where we are not saying anybody copy from anybody. It's a topic we are
Yeah.
just looking
Yeah.
at in general, right? So should people still build in public, given sometimes ideas can be the same, or people should just go all out attack and see what happens, right? So that's
I,
what we want
I,
to talk about. Yeah,
I
what's it?
would say building in public is one good strategy if you want to push or you want to see what you're building grow, because people are able to follow from the beginning, and when you're actually
Yeah,
ready to offer it out, you won't stress so much in getting users. So it's one good strategy, tried and tested, not by me, but I've seen people say
you
good
are doing
things
the
about,
same thing.
but I've not put my product out there to see that if people will actually use it. But I've seen from other people, Book
Yeah,
Me Now does it. When he's
yes,
coding,
yes, yes,
he talks about yeah, and I might be wrong, but I'm assuming that he doing that, people have seen what he's doing and based on that
sure,
have recommended his product, even though they've
sure.
not maybe liked the message or quoted it or commented under it,
Yeah,
right? So I think building in public is a good tool if you use it well.
yeah,
Now, I'm also of the view that nothing under the sun is new.
boss.
Only the approach to doing that thing can be new, but the
Sure.
essence of almost everything is not new. Sending messages have been there since Jesus' time, right?
Hey,
But execution is different. Right now we have Telegram. Those days it was probably by horse riding or by putting a pencil in. Yeah, sending messages have been there since God knows when. But the execution or the approach, or I think the thinking about it is where the difference is. There's Telegram, there's iMessage, there's WhatsApp, there's Viber, there are so many apps that all send messages, right? They are coexisting, they are making their money, and nobody is going at each other's throats that I I don't know, I
Are the
executed it
first to do
first,
it?
or I no 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 no. So I think if you have an idea and you want to put it out there, you should just brace yourself for anything, because human beings are unpredictable. You should
Yeah.
brace yourself for any sort of claiming or accusations or
Well,
comments or things like this. You just brace yourself, because not everyone will support what you're doing. You get a good amount of people supporting you. You equally get a good amount of people who will bash you. So just brace yourself. Share what you're doing honestly, right?
share the link.
Or yeah, like the way I'm doing with Cliff, even though I don't post as often as I should, I still do. And so far, nobody has come to say that I did what I'm doing, or but I believe if somebody comes, if what I'm doing is not new, I recently found an app that does the same thing, and in my
Mm.
view, their UI is even nicer than mine. But I'm not going to go to them and say, I don't know, you stole my idea, or you posted, or I did.
Yeah.
I just go and you see their point. I'm like, what can I steal crap from this app? Okay, I like the way they did this. Let me just go and copy it and put it in my
That's
design.
all.
Like that's what I can do. I won't go and coach them, and I'll just learn from them. I just learn from them. So building in public can be a good tool. It can equally bring you down if you're not doing it right. Right. So I just think we should be honest in and just use that as an opportunity to learn and support each other. Like you don't need to tear people down because they did the same ideas. It's coincidence, right?
Yeah.
It's just coincidental that it so happened that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Execution is everything. It's
Yeah.
whoever gets to the whoever executes better is the person who would win.
Yeah.
Whoever executes better is the person who would win. You can clone. There's this website called Photo AI. Is it Photo
Mhm.
AI? By levels.
Yeah, it's photo AI.
Yeah, and people are cloning his work all the time, and
Mhm.
he's happy with it. It's like, it's
He's
like,
making his
yeah,
all that matters.
the world is big for us. The world is big enough for
The world
multiple
is your
people
oyster.
to, yeah, it's big enough for multiple people to eat of it, right? So why, yeah, are you scared, or why would you get angry when some things like this happen, right? So yeah, if you have an idea, build it in public. You
Yeah.
get help for it. I've gotten a lot
Yeah.
of help from Bamba, from other engineers by sharing stuff I'm building online, right? And yeah, you won't know what you are missing out on until you share it online and people become aware.
Yeah. Joe Anoma said something and it has always stuck with me. You miss 100% of the opportunities you don't take. That's how I'm going
I
to leave this segment.
I shout outs to Joel Career Wheel. One day we'll talk about Career Wheel here.
Yeah. We should spotlight it as a product. We should.
Yeah.
Money.
Joel, bring money too. All right, so for our next design dilemma, I want to go through a problem that one of you guys have sent us. Right. So yeah, if you have any problem, you can send it to us. If your manager is disturbing you, you can send it to us. We can organize boys for them. But yeah, so
To go and
today's one, so today's dilemma, I'll read out what was sent to us by one listener. We'll keep the person anonymous, and yeah, we'll try to give advice on how to go about this. If you also have any, like I said, if you have any issues that you need help with, you can reach out and we'll try to solve it online or on the podcast, right? So I would reach Hi Edge Cases podcasts. I have an issue with my company. my stakeholders do not follow the design process. I don't even get my thoughts heard. The boss decides everything and I don't agree with much of it. However, I need to do it because I'm being paid. What should I do? Should I leave or should I stay? Who need one of the Nigerian movies soundtracks? Well, this is a very tricky situation, right? Should you leave or should you stay? I don't think it's
Is this or
as
that?
yes.
The
I don't
word.
think it's this or that. It's not an easy thing to just say and leave or stay. I don't think. I think there should be a lot of thinking done on this because first of all, what's the design process, right? Because so you said my stakeholders do not follow the design process. So the design process, we might have different thinking when it comes to design process. I think at the beginning of this episode we were talking about. I'm not sure it's in the recording, but we're talking about how what we learn to be the way designers work when you are learning to be a designer is different from when you actually get into the job and
Yeah.
then you are working for a company for a stakeholders. It's quite different, right? Depending on where you work, it can be very different or it can be a little bit different. Where
Mm-hmm.
you know that you'd go and do research, user research, come out with insights, and then you design based on those insights, and you go and do research again to validate all those. Right. If you want to hear about research, we talk about research in our, I think, the second episode or so. Yeah, that's a nice vlog. Cool. So when you are learning how to design, you you learn about all this perfect scenario, all this ideal situation. But then when you get into the job, you realize that you can get a design request on Friday afternoon, and then the engineers are waiting to ship on Monday morning, right?
Hmm.
Or you can get the design request at the beginning of the day, and then you need to have something ready for stakeholders by the end of the day, or maybe in 2 or 3 hours. That's not the ideal design process that we learned when you were trying to get into design. So it might seem like okay, the stakeholders are. I'm not saying it's a good thing, or I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. I'm just saying it's different. It's different, and there are some of the times we would have to adjust to some of these things. Right? What do you think on that one? Before I
Hmm.
go on a long monologue.
So, like you said, this should I leave or should I stay? It's not black and white like that. I'm pretty sure almost every designer has experienced this, worked with stakeholders who, in quotes, don't listen to you or you don't get your voice heard. They don't essentially follow the design process, right? So people have been saying, a lot of designers have been saying it, that the design process is not linear. It seems you have a certain idea of what the design process is. I could be wrong. So I'm assuming here that you could have a certain idea of what the design process is. And what you are experiencing at work is very different from what you learned, right? So
Yeah.
now there's gap and you don't know how to fill it. So it's like things are not going your way and you feel lost and it has come to this. So my work around this, if I were in such a situation or if I'm presented with this situation, my work around this would be if you could look for things that you can match against what you know and what's currently happening. Right now, you're allowed to design, right? Yes, you are. Maybe you are not giving time to do some ideation because in the in the tutorial you watched, the person used 2 days to iterate, went from
Yeah.
sketch,
1 week.
lo-fi to hi-fi to you do all of those things. But at work, you go straight into hi-fi. So then you're not able to sketch or you're not able to do your lo-fi designs. You can also think of it like you research, the tutorial or whatever book you read, the person used 2 weeks to prepare their research questions, speak to people, interviews, put out surveys, all of those things. But at work, you don't have that time to do those research. You have to make the process as you have to build your own process. you have a good idea of what the design process is. All of us we do, but you should pick what works for you in your situation. Fine, they don't allow you to do research, but you should have some time to speak to the people at work. I'm sure you should use your own product, so you can reach out to them. They can be your research subjects or research in interviewees, right? You should speak to them. You don't have to go outside of a company to go and look for them for you to know that you are eyeing the design
The design
process that
process.
you watched. Or yeah, so there's that. Now, so your boss not allowing you get your thoughts out there. It's not, I don't want to say anything that come by me the ask later, but let me try here. It's not that it's not, I don't think it's intentional. That is
Mm,
intentionally waking up today to say, this guy there today, I'm not going to let him talk, or whatever he says, I'm not going to listen to him. He has a vision for the products that he owns, right? You've only been brought along to help him execute that vision. The
yeah,
best
yeah,
you can do
yeah.
in that scenario is to really try to understand that vision as well. Like, that's the only thing you can do. Try to see the way he sees things. And then the question you'd ask is, how do you do that? Speak to him.
Mm,
Ask him questions. Why do you think we should do like this? Why do
yeah.
you think for this button we should put it here when I'm thinking we should put it here? Because I'm assuming this and this and that and that and that. Eventually he might, even with all of these asking questions, he might still say, let's go with what I'm saying. And that is fine. That should be fine, because for you, you have shown your skills as a designer. You've done what you have to do to help in your own way push the product. But the CEO says we should do it like this. Just do it like that. But then when you're doing it like that, you don't do it because, oh, this man said I should do it, so media, I'm just doing it anyhow. With the same way you would have treated your idea, that care, that intentionality, apply those things to your boss's idea. For all you know, it is his idea that will be successful. It is his idea that will get you your money that you are being paid, right? So
So you're saying
just
designers
do
should
what
enter founder mode,
I've been seeing that thing a lot on the TL recently. I've not had the time to go
read
deep
about.
into it. I should. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is we all know what you learn as a designer before you get a job is very different from, it's different from the realities, right? But then it now falls on you to adapt to the situation. Not every company follows Google's, what is it called, design process, the design thing. And not every company does that. Somebody like Derek said, they give you the design today, this morning, they need it at the end of the day. Now, within that 12-hour, 8-hour working time, where are you going to research, to ideate, to test? There's no way. So you have to pick and choose what to do to get you to the goal that the CEO has set. You have to pick and choose what you need to do very well to get to that goal. Very tricky question. Hmm.
I mean, when you join a company, one thing that you can do also to help you become a better designer within the company is to spend time finding out how the stakeholders work.
Yeah.
Right. Spend time
I never,
finding out how this.
I
You
wish
know
I
what?
knew
Yeah,
that
it's something
could have.
that helps a lot. Find out. So I did that in my first few weeks with my team. Just
How was
find
that
out
like?
how
How did you approach
one-on-one
the?
meetings.
So you set the meeting yourselves.
Yeah,
Your,
yeah, yeah.
oh,
People were open to chat. People were
so what did you
open to
talk
chat.
about?
Just how work goes on, how we shape, um, how tasks come in, how people schedule their tasks, how people plan their time around work and all that. Yeah. So
And who did you
I
speak to? Like, you speak to only designers, the people you're going to
no
work
no
with,
no no no
or
no.
you spoke to someone as far as support?
So I spoke with engineer. I spoke with I think one engineer and then two designers, and I spoke with Ryan also, a writer. Yeah, and we have a 2 week onboarding system where they share stuff. So where they share stuff about okay how other people do work. We have people
Okay.
coming to talk to us and all that, and we have a buddy system too, where you are paired with somebody in your first few weeks in the company, where the person holds your hand and all. Yeah, so it's something that's helped a lot. So now I enter a meeting and then I meet the stakeholder is talking. This stakeholder's process is not new to me because I have an idea of how they work. So
Mm.
nothing is going to surprise me from whatever they're saying. Right. And that helped a lot because if I'm working with this PM, so I've worked with all PMs in the company, but then I work a lot with one, Sean, and we have our working process, even though it's not documented. We have our working process. We leave DMs, leave comments, and everybody works properly async, right? And that's our process. That process might be different for some other PM. So all what I'm trying to say is what can help you get better or what can help you enjoy the work more is to just find out what works with your stakeholder and then do that. Right.
Assuming
And
this person has stayed in this company for, let's say, well over 6 months, do you think it's too late for him or her to book these one-on-ones to try to understand how to work with the people he's working with? Do you think it's too late since you
not at
did
all.
that when you were new in the company?
It's not late. It can be sort of a realignment.
Okay.
It can be a realignment. It doesn't always have to be at the beginning. It can just be a realignment that okay, we work for 6 months and we just want to make sure that we are aligned on goals still, or the vision that we started the relationship with is still there. Right? It can just be a realignment. It doesn't have to be anything like grand that you have to
Yeah.
do a whole ceremony and then you bring drummers and
Cutting
um
sword. Hey, let's say
yeah,
cutting
no,
sword.
no, no,
Sword
no.
cutting.
Right. It can just be a simple, maybe there's a project that you guys are doing and then you can get on a call for that project and then you just talk, oh, okay, how do you want to go about this? Do you have any ideas? Right. And that could open up a lot of things. Maybe the stakeholder has seen something somewhere. A lot of the time they see something in competitors' apps
Mhm,
and
mhm.
it influences their decision. But then they
Yeah,
won't come and say that, oh, I saw this. They'll
yeah,
say it as if it's their idea.
yeah.
Right. So calls like that can help that, oh, okay, we want to start this. Have you seen something somewhere that you think these people are doing
Mhm,
better than us that we can
yeah.
see? Yeah. All those give you some understanding of, okay, what's going on, how to handle all of this. And it cuts out a lot of the back and forth. It's cut out, yeah.
So I hope our responses were helpful enough for this person. If
Wait,
this
wait, should
person is
the person leave?
like, should the person leave as a Ghanaian? You
Me,
can.
I
I
don't
think
think you should leave though.
leave. I think you should only leave if you know where you're going to next. If you have a
Well, yeah,
plan. If your plan is I'm leaving to go and look for a job, if you know you don't have enough saved to get you
yeah,
to get a job, it's a lot of things, right? So I'll leave it as it's not black and white, right? I don't know what to say, but it's not a matter of you're leaving right now or you're staying. If you're staying, you need to work around the whole adapting to the situation, asking questions, aligning with your team, knowing how they work. It's all about doing all of these things so that your stay becomes a bit more enjoyable. And if you are leaving, do you have some sort of plan? Do you have how long do you think it will take you to get a new job? Are you switching jobs immediately you leave, or you're going to do your own thing, you're going to freelance? So it's a lot of questions you need to ask yourself, get answers to before you make a decision to either you want to
yeah.
leave or to stay. It's not black and white. It's not this or that or yes and no. So yeah,
But if it gets to a point where you are not getting a chance to do your best work, definitely consider it.
you mean consider
Right.
leave.
Yeah. Consider leaving if you are not getting a chance to do your best work because you can't stay at one place forever.
Yeah, sad and hard truth. So guys, if you do have any questions or problems, feel free to DM Derek or myself, talk to us about it or tell us about it, and we would discuss it here on the episode for you. Right.
for our product spotlight today, yes, today I'm doing product spotlight. For our product spotlight today, we are going to talk about slightly techie. This is different from what the other products we've been highlighting, right? This more of an education platform. Is it a platform or a team?
It's a platform,
Platform, okay.
essentially. Yeah.
Yeah. That helps people who want to get into tech, particularly the engineering side of things. Though I'm sure in the future they'll be bringing more things around product management, product design. But in the beginning, it's more of engineering, front end, back end, Python, Java, JavaScript, all the languages that help us build tools that we love, right? And one of the things I really like about their model is it's a project-based learning system or learning curriculum where learn as you do. So it's not just you sit in the classroom and then listen to somebody talk for 1 hour, but you are actually building something as you are learning. And that helps a lot. For me, it's like doing that has helped me. I mean, I don't think I am any good in building anything, but I have made more progress in building whilst learning than just trying to cram things alone. So, yeah, that's one thing I really like about them. And I like how the community, or they've built a community around learning. And this helps you even motivate like yourself. Because in days where you are down and you don't feel like doing anything, the community can hype you up or can motivate you to actually put something out. Because I've seen people from the Slightly Techie team do 100 days of coding, and some people have actually got into the 100 days, which was very impressive, right? And yeah, I think it's something that people should be aware of. If you want to get started with anything engineering, you can reach out to them at Slightly Techie, right? You want to learn about how to hack Jubilee House, you can reach out to them. Right. And yeah, they'll be starting a new cohort sometime soon. And I hope you guys register. And registration is about, no, I'll mention the price. I mean, it might change so that you go and see Derek said this is. So,
Mhm.
eh, yeah, if you know somebody who wants to learn anything about front end, back end, you can reach out to Slightly Techie. Maybe in the future, we'll also do a design school, Edge Cases College. Yes, yes, yes.
Hey.
Yeah, so that's our product spotlight for today. um, reach out to Slightly Techie or reach out to that thing on the timeline. We'll leave links in the show notes so that you can check them out. Thank you so much for listening.
All right. Thank you very much for staying up to the very end of this episode. We hope that every single thing here that we've discussed is going to help you in your design studying, in your design career, in your design decisions. And yeah, I just hope we were able to make some impact here today. So please do us a favor of sharing your comments on anything we've spoken about in this episode. Just scroll down to that section wherever you're listening to this podcast and leave a thought. It doesn't have to, don't be shy, right? Just don't be shy. Just leave your thoughts. And then if you scroll down further, you see that we've left a poll there. Answer it. It's just our way of engaging with you, so that we are all on the same page. So please don't ignore us on this favor. Share some comments and then take an action on the poll. Derek is going to leave us with the final words.
A final words, Yading. Yeah, so kindly leave a review, right? Leave a comment, leave a review, share the link, like Alpha Hour. Right? It's like, yeah, just re-echo what Franklin has said. It's a way of letting us know what you think about what we are doing, right? And to also see areas of improvements. Yeah, I think since we've started this, we've improved as podcast hosts a lot. If you go and listen to our first episode and now, yeah. So kindly leave a review. Leave. So if you don't know how to leave a review, just yeah, when you are playing it, just go to our about and then just click on rate and leave a review and all that. And shout outs to everybody who has been listening. Design Junkies group. Sharon. Sharon has been forcing for
Yeah,
us. Again,
has been
shout out
trying
to
for.
Sharon. Shout outs to Sharon. Next time you see me, just I'll squeeze some 2 CDs into your hands. And everyone else, thank you for the support. Yeah, that's all for this episode.